Hey everyone, I want to talk a little bit today about Nintendo's various monetization models on mobile platforms. So we're talking iOS and Android. And we're going to start by talking about Super Mario Run. Super Mario Run is, it came out at I think it was December 2016. And so far that has netted Nintendo $60 million, which sounds like a lot until you compare it to Fire Emblem Heroes, which has netted Nintendo nearly $300 million. That's a big difference. Now, how is it that these are so vastly different? Well, let me talk about the monetization models that they use. First, let's start with Super Mario Run. And Super Mario Run is the monetization model where you pay for it once, and then you have everything afterwards. So let's talk about that game. When the game came out, you got the first few levels for free. You could play through it, decide if you liked the game. If you did, then you bought the DLC. The DLC was actually the rest of the game. So basically, it gave you a demo, and then you purchased the game through that DLC. And anytime that they update the game, you get everything if you've paid for it. There is no aftermarket DLC. There's just a one-time purchase and you get everything. That's the most pro-consumer model, I think. The price was $10 up front, and then you have everything that ever comes out for that game, which admittedly isn't a lot, but still, you know that you're done spending money. Then we have Fire Emblem Heroes. Fire Emblem Heroes uses the gacha system, which is based off Japanese word for these almost like slot machines where you pull a thing and a toy comes out in a little plastic bubble. So how does this game work? Well, you can, of course, play Fire Emblem Heroes for free. And there are a lot of people who play the game and never spend a dime on it. And it is possible to do that. How is Nintendo going to make $300 million off Fire Emblem Heroes then? Well, the orbs. And the orbs are used for one of two things, either to summon heroes or to replace your stamina. So let's talk a little bit about stamina first. Stamina is what you use to complete quests and to basically play the game. And you can only play so much in a day until you run out of stamina, and then you have to use an orb to replenish that stamina so that you can play the game more. If you look at it, it's more like quarters in an arcade. You know, you can play for a little while, and then if you want to play some more, you got to drop in another quarter. Although you can earn these orbs in game for free, you can also pay for them, and we'll talk about the cost of those later. Now, in Fire Emblem Heroes, when you summon a hero using orbs, the first hero that you summon costs 5 orbs. The second costs 4, the third costs 4, the fourth costs 4 orbs, and the fifth costs 3 orbs. So what does this do? Well, it means it encourages the player to try and do as many summons as they can at once in order to save on orbs. If you do 5 times just summoning one hero, then you are going to be spending 25 orbs. However, if you summon 5 heroes one time, that's going to cost you 20 orbs. So that's where they kind of get you to try and do as much as you can all at once. Now, like I said before, you can definitely get these orbs for free by playing the game. You won't get very many, but you'll get enough so that if you're playing just casually, you'll be able to keep playing, apparently. There are people out there who want to play the game a lot. They really, really like Fire Emblem, and they want to play as much as they can. They want to summon as many as they can because they're trying to get that 1 5-star rating Marth or whatever that they've been looking for to complete their collection. Now, Nintendo lets you buy these orbs for real world money, and there's a lot of different prices. The spectrum ranges from 3 orbs for $1.99 all the way to, I think it's 140 orbs for $70. So now that we've talked about these two monetization models, and we're not going to talk about Animal Crossing today because that's yet another monetization model. Here's why I'm talking about it. Clearly, the one that is best for the consumer is Super Mario Run's monetization model, where you pay $10 once and you play the game as much as you want forever without any nonsense from Nintendo. Then you've got the Fire Emblem Heroes monetization model, where you're basically gambling in order to try to get heroes that you want, but you don't know what you're definitely going to get. And it seems to me that consumers, they just are betting against themselves, because Super Mario Run got really bad reviews on the iOS App Store, whereas Fire Emblem got really good reviews on the iOS App Store. Now, I've played both games. I've only played Fire Emblem Heroes a little bit, but I played a bunch of Super Mario Run, and the game was really good. Now, it got bad reviews because people didn't want to spend $10 up front. But I'm sure that there's a lot of those same people that had no problem doing a couple, I'll just buy a couple orbs today. I'll just buy a couple orbs today. And, a couple weeks later, I'll just buy a couple orbs today. And they've spent way more than $10 on Fire Emblem Heroes. Now, I know the vast majority of people who play Fire Emblem Heroes probably never spend a dime on it. And that's because there's also the whales. The whales it's a casino term where you've got a very small number of people pumping in ridiculous amounts of money to try and complete their collection or get that 5-star Ike that they've been wanting. And this is where I feel like consumers are betting against themselves, because it's not that Fire Emblem Heroes is a bad game. It's just a bad monetization model. And with all of the kickback that's been happening with EA and Star Wars Battlefront and the loot boxes there, I'm really surprised that more people aren't focusing on how Nintendo has basically been doing the same thing with Fire Emblem Heroes. Now, the one thing that I will say in their defense is that you can play the game for free, whereas you can't play Star Wars Battlefront 2 for free. Star Wars Battlefront 2 has both the loot boxes and a pay up front model. This game, Fire Emblem Heroes, is free to play if you want, but if you want to progress faster, then you pay to win. And I'm just curious as to what you guys think about this. Personally, I think that the monetization model that Nintendo used for Super Mario Run is far superior and better for gaming as a whole, but it's just not successful in the mobile market, because I feel like the people who are playing games on their phones, and if you're somebody who plays the games on your phone and this next phrase doesn't apply to you, then feel free to let me know. But I think that most people who play games on their phones don't actually put value on games. They don't look at them as something that is worth paying for. And because of that, we end up with the games that come out on mobile platforms just seem to be getting worse. They have far more advertisements in them, far more gotcha type monetization models, and a lot less like Super Mario Run. And I just want to hear from you guys. What do you think?